John Leboutillier, who has for years been at Fox with the political insiders and joins us this morning. Tell us your heartfelt response to the passing of Roger Ailes.
Well, I have known Roger since 1980, and for a while we were really good friends, and not so much the last few years, but Roger was physically not well for a long time. I mean, he had orthopedic hip and leg problems. He was immensely overweight. Because of the orthopedic problems, he couldn't move around very well, and so physically he was, not in great shape. And I think getting fired in such a humiliating way last summer was a real blow to him, and probably, this is a funny phrase to use, sort of took the life out of him, and his raison d'etre was that station, Fox News. It's his baby, and when they took it away from him, I think that was put him on the road to dying today.
He just celebrated his 77th birthday on Monday, and apparently, from what I'm reading with the Daily Mail, his wife Elizabeth wrote a statement to the Matt Drudge website of all places, saying that her husband had died. What kind of when you knew him, what comes to mind? How would you describe the man? Self-made?
An unbelievably funny sense of humor. So quick, Phil. You've never been around anybody as quick-witted, cutting, funny. I mean, you could sit there for an hour. It's like a comedy act. He was so funny. And he would slice and dice people, and it was great that way. It was really great. And he was a Nixon Republican like I am, who then morphed over to a Reagan Republican, which I did. And he was just, in that way, really good. Now, I had problems with him at Fox because he wouldn't hire me at Fox for a long time, and I don't like the culture of Fox that he put in there. They were very condescending towards employees, and that came from him. And he got very arrogant at Fox because it was so powerful and so successful, and, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he got corrupted by that power, and he did the things he was accused of. There's no question about it. And that's the downside, the bad side of Roger, who had a lot of good upside, though. He loved his son, Zach. I think he had a great final marriage here to Beth, who worked for him over at CNBC. She ended up running. He started a network over there. He ran CNBC in the early 90s, the business thing, CNBC.
Right.
And he started another one there called America's Talking, and he put her in charge of it. They weren't married yet. I knew her then, and then he left. And when he left, NBC took this thing called America's Talking and turned it into MSNBC.
Uh-huh.
So Roger really started MSNBC and started Fox News and Fox Business. He was a giant in cable TV.
John, was he also a genius because of the way he changed television news?
Yeah, I think he was. He was very big on what it looks like. What it looked like on TV was a huge factor for him. And so he was very keen on these good-looking women delivering the news. And he learned that when he was the number 2 producer on Mike Douglas. And he had a guy named Chet Collier was his boss. And years later, he brought Chet with him to Fox. And I knew Chet a little bit. Chet was a much older guy, and he told Roger Ailes, he said, one of the keys to TV is you're looking at it. What does it look like, and what do the people look like? And I was with Roger in L.A. one day. We're watching TV in the Century Plaza Hotel lobby, and Wheel of Fortune was on. This is 1989 or 90. And Pat Sajak's doing the thing, and Vanna White's flipping the cards around. And Roger said, you know why that show works? It's because of her. They had 2 other different women when they started the show, and it didn't work. But when they got Vanna White, that show took off. And by the way, here we are 27 years later. She's still on there. And that was a big thing for him. That's why he hired all these good-looking women to be on Fox, because he believed the viewership wanted to look at good-looking people. But the underlying message also was, we're conservative, the media's left-wing, you folks out there are going to get the real truth from us over here at Fox. And there was a huge yearning for that, and still is.